All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Over the last several seasons, the Toronto Blue Jays have been recognized for having a young roster that is full of plenty of talent. And of course, over the last couple of years as well, they've added some very quality veterans to that group. Now, that talent, the mixture of veterans and youngsters, has resulted in the Blue Jays making the postseason in three out of the last 4 years. And the year that they didn't make it, going back to 2021, Toronto actually won 91 games that year, missed the postseason by one game. But with all of that said, the Jays have been unable to advance in the playoffs. And for that matter, even win a playoff game. The Jays entered this postseason with high hopes, but it's the same old song in Toronto as they bowed out to a team that was able to exercise their own playoff demons. Now, you go back to 2020. The Jays were swept in the wild card round courtesy of the Tampa Bay Rays. And the Rays, for all of their regular season success, they've been a little underwhelming at times in October as well. However, they swept the Jays and went on to win an American League pennant. Last year, Toronto was swept in the wild card round at home by the Seattle Mariners. And this was a Mariners team that was making their first postseason trip since 2001. And this year, the Jays were quickly sent home once again in the wild card round, this time by a Minnesota Twins team that had not won a postseason series since 2002. Now, yes, the Twins beat the Blue Jays, but Toronto did themselves in as well as they went on to participate in writing their own postseason epitaph. Toronto didn't hit throughout this series. They only scored one run over the two games. The base running blunders. And of course, a lot of people are going to point to Vlad Guerrero Jr. getting picked off at second base yesterday in a critical moment for that contest. Starting pitchers Kevin Gausman and Jose Barrios didn't go deep in their starts. Neither one of them got out of the fifth inning. And honestly, of course, a lot of people are talking about this right now. Why was Barrios pulled yesterday in game three after 3+ innings and 47 pitches? I mean, you went to the bullpen and the bullpen only made the matters worse. And I mean, to me, it's one of those where, you're reading the analytics too much, this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, you got to use your brains. And the thing is, Barrios, I really felt at that point on the mound, gave Toronto a better opportunity to win, and instead the ball was taken out of his hands. That's not the only reason why the Jays lost. I mean, you look at it, and I mean they were outscored in the series 5-1. So obviously both games were close, but Toronto just couldn't make that big play when they needed to. And of course, that's what it comes down into in the postseason. It's all about seizing that moment, and Toronto was unable to do it. I mean, you look at the Minnesota Twins, and again, the Twins have had their postseason struggles for the last 20 years, albeit most of it coming at the hands of the New York Yankees. But with the Twins, even going back to the Metrodome, I really haven't heard the crowd for a Twins home playoff game like it was the last two games. And I think this Twins team fed off of that. And I think Toronto was unable to go out there and quiet that crowd, take them out of the game, make them a non factor, and capitalize on that. Toronto was never able to answer that bell. And it's unfortunate because you look at this Jays team, there's plenty of talent there. They had the talent to go out there and make a run. But at this point right now, we're talking about a Blue Jay squad that's basically in the process of cleaning out their lockers and getting ready for spring training next year. But regardless of this year and years in the past and the coming years, there's just too much talent on this Blue Jays team for them continuously to be one and done in October, and not just be one and done. They haven't even won a game, this core that Toronto has. And that's something that has to change. And obviously that falls in the lap of this front office with Marsha Pyro. And of course, manager John Schneider, they've put the talent there. I mean, you have a solid pitching staff. You have a solid lineup. Toronto just has to go out there and seize the moment. Maybe the youngsters need to grow up a little bit more. I don't know. I'm just saying that hypothetically. But the talent is there. George Springer, Vlad Guerrero Jr. You bring in a veteran with World Series experience like Brandon Belt, and he went 0-4, in the two games. You got Bo Bichette. I could just keep going on and on and on right down the list of the talent on this Jays team. Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassett, Jose Barrios in that rotation, and it just didn't come together. And I I mean, I really don't know what to say as far as what the Jays need to do, experience, seasoning, whatever. But I think at the end of the day, what Toronto has to do in these situations, they got to find a way to seize the moment. They're big guys, not even the big guys. Somebody's got to step up and make a play. And we didn't see that over the two games in Minnesota. And it's just unfortunate because this Jays team definitely had the talent to make a run. But again, unfortunately, they're one and done. I'm not sure to see what changes are going to be made to this Blue Jays roster heading into 2024. But nonetheless, if you're the Jays front office, you've got to realize that guys like Bichette and guys like Vlad Jr., they're going to be up for bigger contracts soon. And with that said, you're not going to be able to keep all of the guys around them like you do now. So you've got to go out there and find a way to figure this out because you're just wasting your talent as far as not being able to get it done in the postseason. Or else, if Toronto can't get it done in the postseason, they're just going to be one of those squads that they're good enough to take care of their business in the season. But come October, when it is a totally different season altogether, they're just going to be there. I don't know what to make of the Blue Jays. I don't know what's going to happen down the road. But at the end of the day, not to sound like a broken record, there's too much talent for the Blue Jays season to end right now. There's too much talent for the Blue Jays to consistently be one and done. And just maybe, they could figure this out and have themselves a deep October run sooner rather than later. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.